Welcome back to the Wellness Script podcast, your source of truth for all things health and wellness. My name is Lauren O'Reilly. I'm a qualified pharmacist and your host for today. This episode felt like an exhale to me, a chance to slow down, to soften the noise, and to reconnect with something so simple yet so powerful. This week, I'm joined by Níall O Murchu to explore the power of breathwork and why something that we do every single day can have such a profound impact on how we feel, both physically and mentally. We talk about stress, nervous system regulation, presence, and the role that the breath can play in helping us feel more grounded in a world that so often pulls us in every direction. Níall brings such a grounding presence to this conversation, and I hope that you love this episode. Níall, you are very welcome to the Wellness Script.
Thank you very much for having me.
We are talking about something that I've been wanting to delve into for such a long time, is our breathing and our breath work. And it's obviously the foundation of us and how we live our lives. So I'd love to first talk about how you got into this. Why is this your life's work?
I had a very strange relationship with breathing when I was growing up. I had very severe asthma.
Okay.
So maybe the first 10, 12 years of my life, I couldn't really breathe very well.
Okay.
And with that comes extreme panic and suffocation, the feeling of suffocation. So I was always very aware of breathing, but probably not in the way that I became aware of breathing.
Sure.
I was always aware when my breathing wasn't working properly as I felt, or really wheezy. And as I went up through playing sport, and we had talked off air about playing basketball for Ireland and things like that, I could really feel how my breathing affected how I felt on the court. So I noticed on the court that if my breathing was good, I felt relaxed and really, really good as well. But I also noticed that if my breathing was constricted, I noticed how tense my body became.
Okay.
So those kind of early years, I think now in hindsight, were the things that really got me thinking about breathing, but not maybe in the best way.
Yes.
It was full of fear.
Okay.
And then years later, I started training in London. We moved to London, and I was training with Shaolin monks, so Buddhist monks, fighting Buddhist monks.
Wow.
This strange contradiction.
Yeah.
And they taught me how to breathe and meditate. And that was the beginning of really starting to see how we could use our breathing. It moved from being this kind of fearful experience, or we could move to this place where we could use our breathing to find a sense of calm.
Yes.
And breathing in Shaolin martial arts, like Kung Fu and traditional martial arts like that, breathing is an integral part of the performance of finding your breath, even when you're really struggling physically.
Yes.
And that then moved me into yoga. And obviously yoga is all about breathing and pranayama. And then I had some great teachers along the way. I had Wim Hof was a great kind of famous breathwork teacher I had along the way.
Yes.
And other great teachers. And slowly but surely I started to realize that this was the thing that meant everything to me. And this was the thing that I really wanted to commit my whole life to. Like the study of it, the teaching of it, the practicing of it. And it's such a massive, massive subject. Like we have a breathwork academy, the Blissful Breath Academy. Yeah. And when people get to the top level of training, the master level, one of their obligations is they go out to explore all types of breathing.
Okay.
And they share what they learn. But there's so many types of breathing. There's so many approaches to breathing that even with all these amazing master teachers out there exploring them and bringing what they learn back to us, that's still just a tiny piece of it. You know? So there are many, many lifetimes of study to the breath.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So like even the fact that there are different types of breathing, like I don't think that's something that like that's only recently barely come into my awareness because of people like you creating content about it. But otherwise, like, you know, as kids and growing up, like we don't learn how to breathe, even though we do it every single day, you know?
I'm beginning to realize that breathing is probably one of the biggest mysteries in our life. And the reason I say that is because, as you said, we do it about 20,000 times a day. Thankfully, we don't have to think about it. But it is unique in the body in that we have the ability to think about it and take control of it. And when we do that, we can change how we breathe. And by doing that, we change how we feel. So we have this within us. Even the reason it's a mystery is that this superpower exists in us all the time. And most people ignore it for the whole of their lives. And I probably did for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
But when we bring our focus to it, it allows us to do nearly anything we want. So if we want to feel calmer, it's the fastest way to feel calmer. If we want to build up our energy and bring focus, it can do that in seconds. If we want to improve our health, a regular breathing practice can do that. So it's nearly like our breathing is there for us all the time, and it can facilitate whatever we want from life.
Yes.
But we always forget it.
We do. And I thought that's such an interesting comparison because, as you said, it's automatic. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to think about our livers detoxifying the body or our heart pumping, but we can actually influence those things. We can't influence us as much, but like we can influence our breath in the moment. And I suppose you started from a sports perspective, and obviously that made you very aware of your breath, and it was probably a source of anxiety by the sounds of things, that, you know, as to how it would make you feel. But I suppose at some point you realize that it affects everyone, whether you're at a desk or you're, you know, a healthcare professional or you know that. And when did that kind of become something that you realized you could translate for across anybody's line of work, you know?
It took me a long time to realize that. And the more I study the breath and the more I practice it, the better my understanding of it becomes. But it is maybe, I'd say about 10 years ago was when I thought to myself, I had, you know, when we look at the different practices of yoga, meditation, qigong, you know, pick a practice, tai chi, whatever one you want to look at. The one universal element, the one universal part of each of those is breathing. So I think about 10 years ago when Josie and I, we started our business fully. I've been teaching for maybe 25 years now, but you know, it wasn't always the livelihood. It wasn't always the business. But it was about 10 years ago when we started to see that if we can just help people to breathe a little better, it can influence every part of their life, every thought, every action, every emotion. And I have a great friend who I used to work with, and he only told me years later, he was saying to me, Jesus, when you went and stopped your old job and started a breathing business, I thought you were crazy. You know? And sometimes ignorance is bliss, but also when you, as you said, when you kind of come across something that's true, which is our breathing influences nearly every experience we have, and that we can ourselves influence that, then that's the focus you sometimes need to take the big jump or to make the move and to pursue it. And I think that's that point about 10 years ago was that point where it was like, okay, if we can just explain this to people in a way that they understand, and if we can just help them to feel it, then we're off. Then we're flying.
Omega-3 is one of those supplements that I've genuinely kept up taking over time. I first started taking Sona's Omega-3 around the time of my laser eye surgery, and I've kept it up ever since. Sona Omega-3 contains EPA and DHA, contributing to the normal function of the brain and the vision, as well as to the normal functioning of the heart. And it also contains vitamin E as an antioxidant. Sona are offering an exclusive gift for listeners of the Wellness Script podcast. So when you make any purchase on sona.ie and use the code SONAGIFT at checkout, a free gift will be added to your order while stocks last, and terms and conditions do apply and are below in the caption. Now, let's get back to the episode. Because once you feel it, I guess you're converted, isn't it?
That's
it's a way of life.
That's it.
And like, why if since our breath is so important and it influences so much of what we do, what is it about our lives, especially in our modern living, that we're not breathing well, you know?
If we watch our progression from a child, like a really young child, a baby, all the way up to say teenage years, you can see where our relationship with breathing starts to change.
Okay.
So when you watch a baby breathes in a way that we actually try to teach people how to breathe like.
Oh, okay.
So the baby breathes in and the belly comes out and the diaphragm opens and, it comes down and lungs open. And then they just...
Yeah.
So you can see
hear
actually
their
a
little
baby.
breaths.
Yeah, and you can watch the baby like expand like a balloon and just let go.
Okay.
So that's called natural breathing for that very reason, because we're built to breathe like that. Our diaphragm is built to move like that. Our lungs are built to open like that. When we start to become more conscious of ourselves in the world, so the child goes from running around, not caring about anything, to become more conscious that maybe people might be looking at them or people might be judging them. It's very much a similar timeline to school.
Okay.
So, we go to 4, 5, 6, 7. By the time the child is 7 or 8, they're much more aware of their actions and what they're doing, because people are telling them, don't do that or do that. So the actions are being reinforced all the time. And then the breath starts to become influenced by the level of pressure that we feel.
Okay.
So for instance, if you and I were sitting here and the fire alarm went off, immediately our heart rate would jump up and our breathing would be the one thing that reflects all of that. Our breathing would get faster. We'd move up into kind of fight or flight and we'd get ready to run. And our breathing would be reflective of that. So that's a little bit like what happens to us as we become more aware, as we become more like teenagers, for example. The pressure of the alarm, or the pressure of growing up, or the pressure of trying to fit in, or the pressure of trying to conform starts to influence how we breathe. And most of us, as we go through our teenage years, go through very difficult times.
Yeah.
And in those difficult times, we become tight. And if we were to pause in that moment and take a look, our breathing is also tight. Our breathing probably is moving up here in the upper chest. It's probably getting a bit too fast. It's probably in the mouth all the time. And if we have no way of coming out of that, then slowly these ways of breathing that aren't the way we want to be breathing all the time, they become the habit.
Yes.
The nervous system goes, oh, that's the way we're going to breathe, and that's the way we breathe. So, for example, we could be breathing through our mouth for 10 years without even realizing it. And we should be breathing through our nose more than our mouth for millions of reasons.
Okay.
So, for example, the air in our nose, when we breathe through our nose, the air is cleaned and humidified and prepared for the lungs. Breathing through the nose even triggers a little chemical in our immune system that improves our immunity. It calms us down. There's a million biological reasons why we should be using our nose more than our mouth. But as we feel pressure, maybe that's one thing that we start to do without even realizing it. And that then becomes how we breathe for 20 years.
Okay. Is that because it's easier? Yeah.
It's because it just becomes the way we do it.
Oh, right.
Because of the pressure that we feel.
Okay.
So if we're under a lot of pressure, we'll naturally breathe like that for a period. And if that pressure doesn't subside, then we just continue to do that.
Okay.
So slowly over time, our relationship with our breathing and how we breathe, and I think it's a natural process. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think just the pressure we feel changes it.
Okay.
And I kind of starting to believe that maybe it needs to be like that. Maybe it has to come out of balance a little bit in our teenage years, because everything's a little bit out of balance before we come back into balance again, maybe as an adult to some stage. But the beautiful thing is our body, our nervous system is forever learning again how to breathe.
Okay.
So for the person who might be listening to this and go, oh my God, I'm actually breathing through my mouth all the time. And that's actually making me feel low level anxiety all the time. We can very simply and quickly change how we're breathing. And our body learns how to breathe again.
Okay.
So it changes it again. So the beauty is that we adapt to the pressure and we breathe a certain way, and then we learn how to breathe in a different way, and we also adapt.
Okay.
So
it can be done.
Oh, it can be done really.
Change.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
The breath, I feel, deeply reflects the human condition. And part of that human condition is our ability to adapt
Yes.
and change.
Yes.
And our breathing just reflects that.
Which we can do.
We can do all the time.
I'm so big on that. Like, you know, I'm a pharmacist and coming from the kind of medical side of things, and I'm always so aware of when I'm speaking with patients about those who have like even a positive attitude about their treatment or, you know, what's going on in their lives, like that does influence how the outcome, you know, of their treatment can go. And you know, having tools like breathwork to get through challenging times, which I see so many people going through, it's just so powerful because, you know,
it's so effective.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's so effective. So when I'm teaching people to be breathwork teachers, and mostly most people aren't doing our training for it to be their career. Most people are doing it to learn a lot about breathing for themselves firstly. And then if they share it with the people around them, that's amazing. But like in a circumstance like you described there, when someone comes to see you and, you know, even being able to share with somebody, look, just take 3 long, slow exhales, focusing on the exhale.
Okay.
And that immediately triggers the vagus nerve, calms the body, reduces the heart rate.
Okay.
And even being able to kind of show somebody that, those long exhales, that then makes a big difference to how they're viewing their situation, how they're viewing the treatment. You know, so those ways of breathing, we always want to teach people in our academy really highly effective ways of breathing.
Yes.
But they are simple. They have to be simple to understand and simple to share with somebody, because like in that example you have, that person's not feeling great when they're coming to talk to you. And with that can often come, as you've seen, I'm sure many times before, a worry or an anxiety that maybe this will get worse, or this will be the new way I have to live, or what about this, or what about that? So being able to kind of show somebody just a very simple way of breathing that brings them into a place where they feel safe again and calm again, can have a massive effect on the outcome of the treatment.
And even that simple breath, if someone's, you know, stuck in traffic now at the moment, listening or whatever, is that just a simple inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose again, or mouth? Or
so let's do it. Let's do it. So if anyone is listening there, just kind of take a moment just to get soft in your chair, nice and soft. And what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to breathe in. And again, we've talked about breathing into your nose, your mouth. But at this stage, just do whatever you can. Breathe in slowly and deeply. But we're going to focus on a long, slow exhale. And for this example, we'll use our mouth. And let's just do it 3 times.
Okay.
So breathing in with me now. And then slowly breathing all the way out. And with no force, breathing in your own time. And slowly all the way out. One last time, breathing in. Now see, can you soften as you exhale? Soften, soften, soften. Now this breath, and people can continue to use that or return to their normal breathing. We know from the science that within about 4 or 5 of these long, slow exhales, vagus nerve starts to activate, drops the heart rate, the body feels soft. But it's more than that. When we're really stressed, our focus often goes to the source of the stress. And that, in essence, narrows our view of things. So we become stuck on the source of the stress, the problem.
Yes.
When we start to focus on long, slow exhales, as well as calming the body, our view, our perspective widens. So we aren't just focusing on the source of the stress. We can also see a greater context, and often we can find a way out of it. So that people often think about breathing as the importance of the inhale, which of course is hugely important. But we'll tend to do that anyway. What happens when we're in difficult situations, high pressure situations, emotional situations, is we'll hold the breath. Or we'll barely exhale. So if we can just get a few of those nice, long, slow exhales going, everything starts to calm down again.
I even feel much calmer. I'm sure everyone who did that there also would agree, Níall, because one thing I found as well, even through my own journey with like, I was always like very type A and very like, you know, even there, like my legs are crossed, I uncross them there because that's my default, is to be kind of like squeezed up and kind of tightened, you know. But I did therapy and stuff, and I remember she was like, I'd say you're holding your breath in the pharmacy when you're working. And then I realized that I was like, and because I was getting stomach pains. That's why I realized I knew it was psychological. I was getting stomach pains, and I was like, it was almost like I didn't feel like I had the time or like I deserved that. Like when we did that just there, it felt like a gift. Like I was like, oh, actually I needed that.
Yeah,
You know? Like, that's lovely. But you know, like it's almost like yes, even though you're in the traffic, like you're going to be in the car for the hour anyway, or whatever it is, or you're on the bus, or you're at your desk, but like you're going to be there anyway. So, and it doesn't affect anyone else as to whether you take that breath.
And the thing is, we have to breathe anyway.
Yeah.
We might as well be doing it in a way that's really benefiting us.
Exactly.
And it's interesting you say about the pharmacy and holding the breath. It's a very, very common for people to hold their breath in stressful situations. Yeah. And I think that's a biological reaction. And I often think to myself, I wonder, you know, there's a reason why it's there. Yeah. You know, like these things that we do, I never like to label them as this is the bad way of doing it or the wrong way. I always think to myself, okay, we all do it. So what's the reason for it? And I think that sometimes if we go back into our distant past, evolutionary past, if we were in this highly frightened state, running for our lives or hiding,
so no one could hear you.
We had to hold the breath. So I think it's a very natural thing to do. And it's great to be aware of that, even that if someone is listening to this, because I used to work with a journalist and she had these deadlines she had to work, and she'd be like holding the breath. And for her, it was a huge revelation to see that she could, in those moments, like give yourself that gift of just focusing on your long exhale. And then all of a sudden, as you very wisely said there, the time in traffic or the difficult situation then becomes a place where it's like, you know what? I can breathe in this very simple way and I can actually enjoy the traffic.
Yeah, because I'm already late.
You're already late.
Or whatever it is.
You have to breathe anyway. Yeah. You might as well enjoy it. Like I worked with a great Olympian from Great Britain, unfortunately not from Ireland, but he was an amazing athlete. Yeah. And his specialty was kayaking. Have you ever watched the kayak? And they release them down and like the water's like this. Yes. And they have all these kind of gates they have to go through. And
ziggy-zag
So I didn't know much about the sport, but they have to get to the point where they start and they have 90 seconds before they are released into the run. Okay. And he was saying that when he was younger, those 90 seconds were no bother.
Okay.
But then he won the Olympic gold, then he won the world championship, and then those 90 seconds became a real bother.
Right.
Because he felt when you don't win it, you're focused on winning it. When you have won it, it's a different type of pressure. So those 90 seconds, he was looking at all the possible difficulties that could happen. So we worked with him to help him use that long exhale. So those 90 seconds then became this amazing preparation time where he could use that long exhale. And instead of focusing on the problems, and this is the same for everybody, when the body feels safe and calm, then the muscle memory that we've had for this sport or for whatever sport or whatever we're doing, then that can just flow. When we're tight, it doesn't flow properly. So he was able to take those 90 seconds and do his breathing. And then when he started, he just felt so ready for it. So we don't have to be Olympic athletes to use a simple breath like that exhale. But we all have moments in the day before going into a meeting, before having a difficult conversation, where we're like that Olympian. We know this thing is coming. We might as well breathe in a way that helps prepare us, that we feel, God, I don't feel too too nervous now.
Yes.
And then go and do it.
So it's those 3 exhales. That's what you always kind of...
Yeah, like if you can get a few more,
Yeah.
like if you could take maybe a minute focusing on those exhales and keeping them nice and soft, but you could feel even, the reason we only did 3 there is that you could feel that even within 3,
Yes.
you can feel different. So imagine if you gave yourself the luxury of a minute or 3 minutes.
Yes. Of the same thing,
just long, slow exhales, body soft, nice and soft. Then our breathing, which happens all the time, then it becomes a superpower. This companion that we have, that we can rely on it. We can breathe long, slow exhales, and then we can forget about it. Then it goes off and does the rest of the day by itself.
Yes, but you mentioned earlier how you can learn, like you can relearn how to breathe. So in terms of someone, let's say they are now aware, or they become aware that they are mouth breathing all the time. They'd like to get the benefits of breathing through their nose. How much effort does that take to switch?
Well, it depends on how embedded the habit is.
Sure.
And there's an amazing book, Breath, by James Nestor, an investigative journalist. And one of the threads through the book is it's a great book for people who want a really engaging story all about the science and evidence around breathing and its importance. But one of the parts of it is he subjects himself to this experiment about nose versus mouth breathing. So for the first half himself, and it's done, I think it's Stanford, or one of the big universities on the west coast of America, and they close off their nose.
Okay.
And for a period of time, I think it's a week, they go, himself and another subject, go about their lives with their nose completely closed, all mouth breathing. And they look at all the ways they measure health, and they basically all get worse.
Okay, wow.
Even
Just
something like hydration.
Yes.
We're losing hydration all the time, moisture through our mouth. Even that changes. So then they switched it. They taped their mouth, opened their nose, and again, they subjected them to all types of tests, and nearly every way they measured health improved from breathing through the nose. Yeah. There's another great breathwork expert in Galway, Patrick McKeown. I think I saw one of his books over there. Okay. And he is a world-renowned academic on breathing. And one of his big things is the importance of nose breathing. Okay. So once we establish, for people who are thinking, there's tons of evidence out there to show us that this is so important. Prolonged breathing through your mouth, as an example, if that hasn't convinced people yet to breathe through the nose, prolonged breathing through your mouth actually starts to narrow the skull.
Wow.
And crowd the teeth.
Okay.
So they can see in the kind of fossil record that the places where they were nose breathing versus mouth breathing changed the shape of their skull.
God. Okay. Wow.
So it's important.
Yes.
So for the person who's thinking, like I was, for a long time, I realized, feck, I've been breathing through my mouth for, I don't know, a decade?
Yeah.
Or however long, 2 decades. So there's a few ways we can go about it. Firstly is just becoming aware of it. And if somebody's there listening to this and they're trying to breathe through their nose now and they're finding it difficult, the other important part is to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
The transition from years of breathing through our mouth to breathing through our nose can be very, very difficult. So for example, I did lots of martial arts and I was convinced that I had broken my nose, but that had affected my ability to breathe through my nose. Okay. And one of the first things people will say to you is, oh, I can't breathe through my nose because my nose is broken. I have this problem. All of that could be true. But what is also true is that when we stop breathing through our nose, it becomes slightly narrower.
Okay.
The more we use it, the more it starts to open.
It gets easier.
It gets easier.
Okay.
The more we use it.
Sure.
But be kind is the first bit. So even becoming aware of it, trying to breathe a little bit more through your nose than your mouth, and just allowing yourself the kind of the slow transition. Then some other really practical things. Go and do some yoga.
Okay.
Yoga is taught 95% breathing through your nose. Yes. And the reason that is because I love yoga and I hate yoga.
Okay.
I love it because I love it how I feel afterwards, but I find it so difficult.
It is difficult, yeah.
And the reason, when we think of yoga in the West, we think of the postures, but that's only one part of it. But the reason it's difficult is because it's trying to force us to breathe really well most of the time through our nose in difficult positions.
Yes.
So when we're trying to touch our toes,
Yeah.
and we have to then start breathing through our nose and then start breathing in and softening on the exhale. It's teaching us how to breathe. So for me, that was a big part of learning how to breathe through my nose again.
Yes.
I went to lots of yoga, and that was a way of retraining. I actually meant to bring one in. The other big part of it is mouth taping.
Yeah,
this is the thing that people think is really odd, which is, it is odd in a way. So at night, as people tend to get a little bit older, they tend to breathe way more through their mouth when they're sleeping.
Yes.
That causes lots of problems with sleeping, including snoring, sleep apnea. The list is endless.
Yes.
By retraining ourselves to breathe for 7 or 8 hours through our nose, it makes us feel completely different.
Yeah.
People wake up, if you are a person who sleeps at night with water by their bed because their mouth is dry, you are sleeping and breathing through your mouth all night long.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if you wake up really thirsty, it's because you've been like losing water. Okay.
And so again, one of the ways to do this, and there's a great company in Ireland called Naze, and they have these kind of sleeping packs where you get a little strip firstly that goes across the top of the nose, and people who watch football, loads of professional football people use it. It's it's kind of a strip that goes here, and it just broadens the nose a little bit, and it means you can breathe through your nose more clearly.
Okay.
And then in Naze have this other little part of the pack, which is a piece of beautiful blue tape that goes gently on the mouth like this. You can talk and you can breathe through it. You can do things with it, but it encourages the lips to kind of come closer together.
Right. Okay.
So at night then, it encourages the body to say, oh, the mouth is closed or close to being closed. I'll start using my nose more.
So it's not fully taped over it's just
a piece of tape that does cover it, but like you can, it's not like, it's like this kind of material. It's kind of like soft material.
Soft, okay.
So like you can open your mouth if you really need to, but it's showing the body, and the body's always paying attention. Okay, my mouth is being encouraged to close here. Let's start using the nose.
Yes.
And that makes a huge difference. Like people report waking up, like they used to, without even realizing it, feel like they had a hangover when they woke up because they're so dehydrated. Yes. But also all the amazing stuff that the nose is doing is not happening.
Yes.
It's not filtering the air. It's not humidifying the air. The air is arriving in the lungs kind of raw, and it's not even triggering our immune response to it. So, so people then wake up and they feel fresh, just from a little bit of that. Okay. But again, I always say to people, be really kind to yourself, because the mouth tape might feel really constrictive at the beginning. Okay. So maybe even just put it on for 5 minutes and take it off. Sure. Yeah. A person will find as well that subconsciously at night they'll just rip it off, and they'll find this tape like stuck to their head or the wall, So there'll be weeks of that where the body is actually rebelling against the change, and will actually, without you even thinking, will just pull it off. Right. Okay. You just want to default to what was easy and what you know. Exactly. But it's such a good investment though, isn't it? In your, like a good time investment in terms of like focusing on it. It is. Yeah. And in a way, it's kind of, once you get used to the feeling of the tape, that's the job done. The body does all the rest. You just fall asleep, and your sleep is really good. The quality of the sleep is, you were saying you have a sleep expert on the podcast. Yes. The quality of the sleep is so much different, because oftentimes when we're breathing through our mouth, our body is in a slightly panicked state. Our experience of breathing through the nose is much more controlled and much more part of the kind of the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. So by its very nature, breathing through our nose is more calming. Yeah, it's just like the knock-on effects of having good sleep
are just so massive for our overall health. Like that's the time when your blood pressure drops, when, you know, your cells get a chance to repair themselves and like all of that kind of good stuff. And even like when I see it in the pharmacy so often, we mention snoring, like people will mention either they snore or their partner snores. And if even one person in the bed is snoring, it affects two people's sleep, and that affects how they show up the next day. And their stress levels then for that whole day. So like, I think the sleep part is the part I really wanted to ask you about, because even, let's say if we're at our desk, okay, we'll try and breathe through our nose, but at nighttime, then it's kind of like, you don't know what way you're gonna default to, let's say, even if you're trying your best during the day. So that's how you can train yourself then, is to use those tools.
Yeah. And even as well, another way to look at it is even the 3 breaths that we did earlier on. Let's say you were to say, okay, I'm going to take a minute or two just to focus on a long exhale. That's training we're training ourselves deeply, even without knowing it, to breathe in a new way. And then we start to, without realizing, use those ways of breathing when we're not conscious of it. So it's like we can train our body by practicing it, and then the body learns and uses it. So any amount of time spent focusing on our breathing, it can be the way we just did there. I have, you know, if people go to my website, on the homepage, there's 10 free breathing sessions that are 10 minutes long. Any way of breathing like that just brings our attention for a moment or two and places it on the breathing, that starts to change us. We immediately feel calmer. We immediately feel more settled by just listening to our breathing. And then that influences how we breathe at night. So it's like our bodies are looking all the time, learning all the time. And then it takes what we've been practicing and starts to use it.
And Níall, obviously you're hugely into wellness on a whole. So are there other practices, like you talk about cold exposure, for example? Where does that come into the play with breathing or with wellness in general for you?
So think about what happens to us when we experience the cold. Let's say a person jumps into the 40-foot at Christmas or something. They don't do it very often otherwise, but they do it at Christmas. Their breath is gone. Absolutely gone. And it is the ultimate fight, flight response. So the cold the cold has loads of benefits if approached with respect, that are really amazing. Balances our hormones, reduces inflammation, reduces pain, increases energy. You know, all these, they're all amazing. But for me, really, the cold is the ultimate test of our breathing. So when that person is panic breathing in the cold, there's also a moment in there that they can start to focus on their breathing and bring their breathing under control and go from to and they can find that breath again in the cold. They can be surrounded by the freezing sea, and they can find the breath and they can calm the breath. And even though the cold is always trying to take it away, they then learn in the pressure of the cold how to breathe in a way that's really good for them. So it's one thing, you and I sitting here and doing those 3 or 4 breaths. But once we get used to that, a great way to test it, that we know we can use it when we need it, is to get into the cold. So when we get into the cold, we feel that reaction, we feel that kind of that burst of panic and fear. And if we can just, in the midst of that, just find the breath and just slowly calm it down and take control of it, that's when all the benefits start to happen. So when we're in the cold and our breathing is settled and the body is adapted, then it starts to do all the things that science shows us to do. It's starting to reduce the inflammation in the body. And there's some great studies that show that when we approach the cold in this way, that inflammation can be going down the body for 6 days afterwards.
Wow. Okay. That's serious.
And that's why people feel so amazing from it. But the key to it is that the breath again reflects our experience. So the breath at the beginning is bang. When we get the breath settled, it's also like a signpost that's pointing deep into the body, saying the body has adapted. It's now moving to a place where it's reducing inflammation. It's moving to a place in the background where the immune system is getting stronger. And the breath is telling us that. And then that's all we need in the cold. So there's a misconception around the cold that I spend a lot of time trying to help people understand a little bit better, that we need lots of time in the cold and it needs to be like 10 minutes in the cold, 20 minutes in the cold. That's actually, if our intention in the cold is to get the most benefit from it,
Yes.
then our breathing will tell us when we're done.
Okay, I like that, because that's more intuitive than like
The
target.
The 10 minutes. So the 10 minutes for the normal person will deplete them for hours and hours and hours afterwards.
Sure.
But if someone's listening to this and go, oh, I do a cold plunge at the sauna, or I do a little bit of cold at the end of my hot shower, the way to really know when you've had enough is to listen to your breathing. Okay. If you can find a place in the cold where your breathing is settled, now it doesn't mean you can be like, it's not going to be stolen by the cold again. You have to really focus. But in that moment when the breath is settled, it shows that we've adapted, and it shows that all these things are taking place.
Yes.
So that's like the peak.
Okay.
And if we get out at that point, we carry that experience with us. It's like we get out and we feel great.
Yes.
There's a peak of benefit. But if we stay beyond the peak, the benefit starts to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle.
Okay. Yeah.
So, less is more in the cold.
Okay.
And again, this is where it fits with the breathing. The way in which we know that we've had enough, the way in which we know that, this is a force for good in my life, is to listen to the breath. So the breath our skill at breathing will get better in the cold.
Yes.
Our skill at dealing with difficult situations will get better. Our resilience will get better. And if we listen to our breathing in the cold, when we get out, all these scientifically proven benefits that we've talked about, they'll all be ours.
Yes.
So that's where to me, the cold is a breathing practice. And they go so well together. So if a person is listening to this and said, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of breathing, focus maybe on that long exhale.
Yeah.
And how do I do a little bit of cold? We had talked about it before.
Yeah.
Enjoy your hot shower. As humans, we've evolved over millions of years to be able to like press a button. Yeah. And we have beautiful hot water. So enjoy the hot water. That. Absolutely. And just at the end, switch to cold.
Okay.
Especially this time of year. Feel the shock. We want the shock of the cold.
Okay, so that's how you know it's cold enough. I was going to ask you how cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way we know it's cold enough is if it feels like, oh.
Okay, takes your breath off. Okay.
And then when we feel, it's kind of like we're voluntarily pushing ourselves into the stress itself. And just try to listen to your breathing. You'll notice your breathing is out of rhythm. You'll notice your breathing is really fast. And if we can bring the breathing back to a place where it's settled, even for a moment, you're done, turn it off, you'll feel amazing. Hormones will be balanced. There's a great phrase in Irish. I always forget what it is in Irish, but what it means is that the phrase is, we go to the sea to drown the miserable person.
Oh, wow.
So what it means is that we go to the sea, we get into the cold, and no matter how miserable we have felt beforehand or difficult, we get out and that person's gone.
That person's gone, with the water. Yeah.
Gone with the water.
Wow.
So even that little bit of cold is the same thing. If we're like this morning, I had lots of things. We have a new Meta ad campaign. We're trying to, like all these things going through my mind. And at the end, I turn on the cold. You cannot think of the new Meta ad campaign you're trying to run, because you are totally focused on I have to breathe, I have to focus on the breath. In a way, the cold, because we're focusing on our breath and we're forced to focus on our breath, is like a mega meditation. If meditation is we're trying to focus on one thing to allow our minds to forget about everything for a moment or two, that's what the cold does. Yeah. So in that moment, I couldn't think of the Facebook ads. I had to focus on my breathing to deal with the cold, and it allows all those thoughts to you just forget about them for a while, and then you step out, and the person you were before you got in is different. And so for me, that little bit of cold at the end of your hot shower, and again, it doesn't have to be lots, is transformative for people. And we had said as well that it feels like a victory. You've already faced, because loads of people will be like in the shower, oh, do I really have to? That fella said to turn it to cold, do I have? And there's a battle.
Yes.
But you turn it to cold, you breathe, you get out, you feel amazing, and you've won that battle. You've already had a victory. And it's only like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And that then builds resilience. That then builds, you know, our ability that we can call upon this strength when we need it. And of course, the breath is the universal part of the experience. It just weaves itself through the whole thing. It's like about mouth taping. With the cold, people don't think about it, but you have to be kind to yourself. So there's no forcing in the cold. The cold will always win.
Yes.
It's too strong.
Yes.
We have to respect it. So there's no forcing. There's no staying in the sea because that person is staying in for that long or whatever it is. It's listening to your own body, listening to your own breath, and that'll tell you when you've had enough. So there's never any forcing. And as well for women, depending on where they are in their cycle, it mightn't be the thing for them.
Sure.
So again, listening to the body, and if the cold doesn't feel like it's going to be this force for good in your life that day, that's all right.
Okay.
So there's no kind of regimental approach to it. There's no forcing to it. It's really, the cold should be a kind of gentle practice of listening to what we need. And also listening to sometimes saying to yourself, but I also have to be a little bit resilient and strong today.
Yes.
And do it sometimes as well, you know.
Yes.
So it's trying to find that balance.
I know. I'm thinking of that as well, because like I go to the sauna and I do cold plunge with one of my best friends, and like that we've stayed in, I felt good on certain days, say, and I'd stay in a bit longer, and she's definitely stayed in too long and then been shaking way too much coming out of it. So that's just, you know, you don't have to stay, there's little timers on the side, you don't have to stay until the timer times out. You just
listen to your breath.
Yeah, you've had enough, you get out.
You've had, so as part of the Blissful Breath Academy, the main focus is on breathing and breathwork training. But once a year we have ice bath training. Okay. Because we feel the cold is such an important practice for breathing. And like that, we try to encourage loads of the people who own saunas, places like that, to come and learn how to really use the cold. Yes. Because like that, there are some days, and the sauna is amazing, the heat and the cold is what we want. But there are some days that we might need the cold. Okay. The body might be just like, not for me today. Yes. And that's also fine to say that that's not for me. Okay. Some days we'll need a little bit, but not too much. Yeah. But it's always about listening and never forcing it. If we're turning it, and I can understand this for people, we live in a society that and especially coming from a sports background, everything is measured, everything is monitored, everything is analyzed. It's nearly always better to do the thing faster, better, stronger, heavier. With the cold, that's not the case. Okay. The cold is way stronger than we are. Yes. So less is definitely more. So the little timers, someday the timer might be on 2 or 3. That might be a stretch for people. Yeah. On the other side, sometimes the person might need a bit more. Okay. So if you're really listening to your body, you'll find that. Okay. But the kind of guiding rule is, there's a great professor up in the northern countries, Susanna Soberg, and she did an analysis of all the cold research out there. And her kind of conclusion was that over a week, over 7 days, to get the most from the cold, that a person should spend about 11 minutes over 7 days. Okay. So now that doesn't mean 11 minutes in one sitting. Yes. But think about if you're spending maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds of cold at the end of your hot shower, and then you go for a sauna and a plunge, and you spend a few minutes in that and come back and forth. That's probably your 11 minutes for the week. You know, So as humans in this part of the world, it's inevitable that we feel the cold.
Yes.
So learning how to use it as this force for good in our life is really important.
Yeah, I'm big on that as well. Like I kind of always reject the concept of, oh, it's a terrible day out or whatever. It's not like, it's just, I say there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. Like if you're going out, like don't let the weather determine whether you get your walk in today, if that's what you want, or your run or whatever it is that you want to do, because like there's nothing that a hot shower at the end can solve, you know, and warm you back up again. And I think it's so good for our immune systems to be out in nature, to be breathing fresh air after being inside or on buses or whatever every day. So I think, the weather, because it can be so gloomy and miserable, that you do just need to like to hell with it, out with the elements, and
especially here in Ireland. You know, I don't know what the stat is. Somebody told me the other day it's been raining for the last 27 days in a row or something. You know, but ultimately we are animals.
Yes.
You know, and ultimately we are a part of nature. And getting outside in the cold or the rain or the sun or the snow, whatever it is, it brings us alive.
It does.
We need it. You know, we're built for it.
We are.
Now, and again, with the cold, we don't have to push it or force it.
Yeah.
But we definitely do need a little bit of cold at the end of the hot shower.
Yeah.
That's a reminder of that. We definitely need a little dip in the sea every now and then. That's a reminder of it, you know.
Yes.
And then also to enjoy the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember I posted before that the rain doesn't make you sick, or that the people that are inside with you when you're avoiding the rain do, you know. So, and it made a lot of people very angry, because they were like, no, if I go out in the rain now, I'll definitely get sick. It's not the rain. It's, you know, obviously if you're an elderly person, or if you're, you know, immunocompromised, it's probably better to stay in warmer environments. But you know, like in general, like it's the germs from other people that make you sick.
And I think you're spot on. And for people who are kind of like, I'm not sure about that, think of it like this. You know, we're sitting in this room, all of us here, in these amazing bodies that are actually built to deal with harsh conditions.
Yes.
They are built. We've evolved since we climbed out of the primordial sea all those billions of years ago. We have developed and evolved to a point where we don't have to deal with the harsh conditions as much nowadays, thankfully.
We live comfortable lives.
We live very comfortable. But these bodies that we're in are built to deal with harsh conditions.
Yes.
And if we don't give it a little dose of the harsh conditions, then it stops to, you know, if we don't use it, it starts to fall apart. So like you're saying, you know, for the person who mightn't be inclined to go outside for a few minutes, feel the cold, feel the rain, come back inside, you feel much better. Yeah. Because we're built for it.
Yes.
Now, again, it doesn't mean that person has to go for a 7-hour hike, but I would always say to people, find something that feels comfortable for you, but we definitely need those the cold at the end of the hot shower is a little dose of harsh conditions.
Yes.
You know,
in our very cozy, comfortable lives.
And we should enjoy the comfort.
Yes,
we've evolved for those millions and millions of years to enjoy the comfort, but these bodies still need, that's why we now understand the importance of movement.
Yes.
Resistance training, weight training, yoga, whatever it is, again, not forcing it, but these bodies need a little bit of that harshness in order to fully function.
Yes. That's what 100%. Like, stress in and of itself is not actually a bad thing. It's necessary. Even like, I've seen cortisol get such a bad rep, but cortisol wakes us up in the morning. The problem is when we're chronically stressed, when we're, you know, we're waking up first thing and we, you know, we get emails from work and we're going to bed at night, and the last thing we do is we're on socials and our head is full of, you know, information. Whereas like biologically and evolutionarily, you know, that's the point where we would have been staring at a fire and like chatting and feeling the connection of our family and our friends, our community. And I suppose the problem with cortisol with stress is that if it's low grade constant or higher grade constant, it's not good. But stress is great, like to get you through a run, to get you
Absolutely.
to get your work done when you are at a deadline. When it's occasional, it's only when it's like all the time that it becomes problematic, I think.
And people experience that the high of achieving the thing that's difficult
after a bout of a little bit of a stressful push to get the thing
and
done.
That's why athletes are so obsessed these days about the recovery.
Yes.
So you want that, again, it's like all the things we've talked about are very similar. You want that difficult, harsh thing, that cold thing, the movement, whatever it might be.
Yes.
But then you definitely then want to come back down out of that.
Definitely.
And that's where the breathing is a great practice to bring us back down after the achievement or after the difficulty or after the stress. As you said, the stress in of itself isn't the problem. It's our inability to come back down out of it that could be kind of part of the problem as well. So, and that's where a little breathing practice, a little 10-minute breathing, listen to one of the recordings that we give people.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Just listen to that. Oh, I feel great again. And then your body has a chance to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I even find that when I've had like a very intense day, or I was telling you, my brother's a professional football player, like that I know he always struggles to sleep after a match. He gets shocking sleep, so that the breath could be a really powerful tool.
Yes. I was working with a professional sports manager.
Yeah.
And let's say they have a huge game on a Sunday or a weekend. He mightn't be back sleeping till Thursday.
God, okay.
Because, the heightened sense of being out in front of a crowd of 100,000 people. And sometimes I feel players have an advantage because they're tiring themselves out. They're giving the body a chance to release some of the tension through the physical movement.
Yes, true.
And
as opposed to the manager.
The manager who's like standing, maybe he's walking or she's walking up and down, but they're not having 90 minutes, 80 minutes of sheer exhaustion to counterbalance that.
That's true.
So for him, the idea was I gave him he was an older gentleman, so the Blissful Breath book that I wrote years ago, that was his way of doing the breathing exercises.
Very good.
And he tried to do a few of those in the morning and the evenings on these days after the big game and getting to see. And so he kind of figured out like his way of, so it wasn't, he was trying to get it to maybe Tuesday he was back sleeping. Instead of Thursday, he was back sleeping. So again, all these things are great and everyone is so different. So it's like we need a unique mix of things for us.
So and I think that's kind of the theme, isn't it? Like, is that you first become aware of what your habits and your tendencies are. If you have, if it's, whether it's the mouth breathing and you'd like to switch to the nose breathing, it starts with the awareness piece. If there's something that happens once a week, say it's a match or it's a, some other kind of stressful event in your work or personal life, that you kind of, that's coming, and is there a way that you can then get back to baseline faster through your habits? And then and borrow the knowledge of books is a great way to basically get a one-on-one with someone like you, read that book. I think it's really, really powerful. But Níall, I think in terms of, I suppose, people having a go-to, that is something that I would like. I'll definitely be doing my 3 slow breaths, but sometimes I feel like before, like say before a stressful work thing or TV or something, like is the breath the main thing that I should focus on? Say like, when you get the dry mouth, the sweaty palms, everything, is that the best? Like, do you go to the bathroom and just do those breaths? Or
so a few things on this. That experience you're describing there, everyone has some version of it that they feel. The movement up into this stress response in the body, and for people who might kind of really understand that, as we kind of feel those nerves and as the body, you start to, your stomach starts to feel funny or whatever it might be, the tongue starts to be large and dry in the mouth. The body, what it's trying to do there is it's trying to mobilize all its energy to deal with the stress. Okay. But it's also taking it out of our digestion. It's also, that's why people's stomachs start making noise, because you're actually not digesting as well as you were 10 minutes ago. Yes. So all of that is a very natural reaction. That's the first thing. Is I always feel like you kind of want to welcome it, because like, okay, here we go. This is the practice now. We're going to feel these things. And our breathing is the fastest remote control to be able to change that.
Okay.
So let's say you're going on TV.
Yeah.
And you're backstage, and people are talking, they're doing your makeup, all that kind of stuff is going on. Even bringing your mind, which will be racing, it'll be thinking about what you're going to say, the questions, bringing your mind and just listening to your breathing.
Okay.
The act of just becoming aware of your breathing moves the breathing from being automatic, so it's getting higher and higher because you're feeling the pressure, and it moves it over to the place where we're now in control of it, and then it starts to slow down a little bit. So the control over the breathing immediately starts to slow it down. So even the act of just listening to your breath, you'll become aware of it, and you'll probably think, maybe I need to slow it down a little bit. And just slowing it down just a tiny bit will have a huge effect on how you feel.
Okay.
And even when people are talking to you, because I know backstage on TV shows, there's lots of, it's not like you just sit there, you're like in some nice green room and they bring you, like there's usually lots of stuff going on, you know, even though in front of, on camera, it looks like nice and peaceful.
Yeah.
But even amongst all of that, even just bringing your mind back to the breath and just trying to slow it down, not in a way that's putting pressure on you, but just to slow it down a little bit, will give you a little sense of control.
Okay.
Even when the palms are getting sweaty, even when your stomach might be a bit funny, or even those things. And then trying to come to that place where that long, slow exhale is happening.
Okay.
Especially with children, especially with teenagers, we try to teach that it's very difficult to draw on a new skill in the crisis.
Yes.
But if we practice that skill before the crisis, then in the crisis, we can recall the skill much better.
Yeah.
So especially with children and teenagers, people are always asking us, how do we help them deal better with the pressures of life? And let's say a child is really upset, or a teenager. Of course, in those moments, helping them to breathe better will help. But if they haven't done it before, when we're in that mind, we can't take information in.
Yes.
So like that, a little bit of prep, a little bit of practice. Then when you're going on TV, you're recalling the skill. The body knows it. And just listening to the breath and just slowing it down a little bit will have a huge effect.
Yes. So a daily kind of check in with, and even with people who have children at home, or who are a teenager, or they're listening or have one at home, just kind of, I suppose, making them aware that your breath is a tool that you can use, and pointing to resources that you guys have available as well.
So on our website, we have the Breathe with Níall app. And in that, there's a whole section of recordings just for children and teenagers. That was a big thing after COVID for big humans, but also little humans.
Yes.
And so we have recordings. You just stick it on and you breathe with the child or the teenager, as well. Yes. Because really, for children and teenagers, even though we mightn't think it, they're learning by mimicking our behavior. So if they see the adult doing the breathing, they'll do the breathing.
Okay, amazing. Níall, I feel like this was such a masterclass in the breath, and for anyone who wants to learn more about you, your Breathe with Níall on all of the channels. All the channels,
and I didn't mention, but if you're interested in the cold as well, I have 2 books. The Blissful Breath is about the breathing, and The Power of Cold is about how to use the cold, like we described. The Power of Cold is on Audible. So if you have a subscription to Audible, you can listen to it as well. So it's very easy to find.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Níall.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's it for today's episode of The Wellness Script. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit subscribe and review with 5 stars. It really helps us to grow and keep these evidence-based conversations coming with top experts to help you on your health and wellness journey. You can follow us at Wellness Script Pod on socials for more. And a huge thank you to our sponsor, Sona Vitamins, Ireland's longest established nutritional supplement producer. Catch you next Wednesday with a brand new episode, Your Prescription for Better Living.